What's up with it? Welcome to Diehard Fan. Sports for America put me on. It's the People's Coach, Cornelius Cole. Um, a lot of interesting things happened this week, but first, um, I want to take a moment to say another school shooting um, at the Michigan State this time. The gunman was found dead, but prayers out to the three families of the three that lost their lives and the five that were wounded. Um, those kinds of things have to stop. Of course, Michigan State shut down sports programs because of it. Um, and New Mexico State, with the hazing, in this day and age, the hazing to where they shut down, suspended the men's basketball schedule for the year. Um, yeah, that coming out, the athletic director, the AD things down and saying it's due to the hazing. I mean, it had to be real egregious hazing for them to shut that down like that. Let's hope Mexico State gets that figured out. Super Bowl, man, yeah, um, Super Bowl, deep game. The Chiefs by three. I took the Chiefs by three. Don't believe me? Go back and review for last week. I took as far as I didn't know it was going to be such a high scoring game. I'm glad it was an entertaining game. Jalen Hurts put on the show. Um, it seemed like everybody put on the show except for the Eagles defense. This defense that everybody was talking about, set sack records was supposed to be so physical, was supposed to be so tough. They had no answers for the Kansas City Chiefs in the second half. The same way the Kansas City Chiefs defense didn't seem to have an answer for Philly in the first half. Um, there's been a little back and forth with me and several people about the coaching in that game. Um, Kansas City made great adjustments. The question came up: did Andy Reid outcoach Sirianni? He really outcoached him. Not only that, the game plan seemed to have switched. The adjustments that they made was better. But now, truth of the matter is, team. A lot of teams out there can learn something from that. I thought maybe we had learned it from the Patriots and all that, but it takes every part of the team. Defense scored, offense scored, and special teams almost scored. Special teams took the ball down, one of only like two punts in the game or something like that for the Eagles. That second punt was deadly because the punt return really helped launch the complete comeback. And I was impressed that once it was 35-27, the Eagles go right down, score 2-point conversion. Boom, game is um, game is back locked up at 35. But you knew when Patrick Mahomes got the ball again that they were going to try to score. A lot of people up in arms about the penalty that was called late in that game, the defensive holding. I mean, even though it was holding, I feel like that was kind of corny too for the referee to throw the flag. Referee shouldn't have thrown the flag then. Especially, you always figure in the last 2-3 minutes, especially of a football game, unless it's something really, really, eye popping or really, really, i.e., what happened in the AFC Championship game where you push the quarterback out of bounds and you get a 15-yard penalty. That's different than a holding penalty where the ball wasn't even catchable, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, though. The ball, I mean, you had no shot at catching that ball. The placement of that ball. Juju not that fast. We know, excuse me. Uh, in his space with the gamer. I think the biggest things that I took away from the Super Bowl was not just how Jalen Hurts actually outperformed Patrick Mahomes in that game, whether people want to admit it or not. I know we want to say Patrick Mahomes is the greatest thing since sliced bread, which he is great. and he did his thing. When he got hurt, it was like, oh, when they fell on that ankle, oh, it might be trouble. But he figured out a way to make it happen. So um, gotta love that. Gotta appreciate the effort of both teams. But at the same time, Eagles fans, um, don't be trying to blame penalties, that penalty for what happened. Your defense didn't show up. Eagle fans, die hard Eagle fans, your defense didn't show up. Did not. Didn't even. I mean, the Chiefs scored every time in the second half. All four times, five times, whatever it was, they scored every single time. Um, so I guess the biggest thing, that you can say is that it does look like those two teams are really good, and the scary thing is, um, it look like we might be looking at those two teams again next year. Unless other teams step up to the plate. Those are the things we got to see, the off-season moves, what team's going to come in really trying to compete for the crown. We know that in the NFC, it's been a different team all the time. The AFC, it's been just a couple since the Patriots that fell off. It's been the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game every year. The Bengals was in the Super Bowl, but you're looking at the Chiefs being around for a while, and you look like the Eagles looking they're like they saying they putting in a bid that is going through them, but they did just lose their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator. Both got head coaching jobs, by the way. And someone else had mentioned this. I don't know how you go and lose the Super Bowl and you guys get um, jobs, head coaching jobs, especially the defensive coordinator. I don't know how you got a head coaching job, but you got a head coaching job. Congratulations to you, John Gannon. I think, you know, but it's the Cardinals. So I don't think that's going to really matter too much because you coach for the Cardinals. Offensive coordinator, Skyken, I can't remember how to say his name, but he went to um, the Colts. Um, so all the head coaching jobs are filled now. Um, Other move that I looked at, D'Amico Ryans hires, um, he takes on the quarterback coach from the 49ers and makes him his offensive coordinator. That's a good move. Bring your buddy with you, or bring someone you're familiar with to get that thing jumping. I think it's just going to be a lot of. I think it's going to be a lot of adjustments made in this offseason. The biggest talk being Derek Carr right now. Man, Derek Carr. Um, the Raiders released him due to them not wanting them, and then them not having wanting to pay a certain amount and all this stuff, and him not invoking his trade clause. But I think he's still the same. I think he's saying the same Derek Carr. It's not going to change. His game not going to change just because he changes an environment, in my opinion. It's going to take a real good coach to win something with Derek Carr. That's all I'm saying. I don't think he's going to get you over the hump. So all this hoopla about where is Derek Carr going, I think Jimmy Garoppolo. I think if anybody gets Jimmy Garoppolo, that's a great up right there because that's a guy that's a winner, man. That's a guy that could take you far deep if you haven't been deep in the playoffs in a while. You know, i.e. the Jets, i.e. the Raiders, even. Those are the guys we're looking for. I mean, Derek Carr not gonna take you nowhere, so I don't know why would teams rush to get him. That's probably why teams are not beating down his door or whatever, or really trying to make things happen. I know he spoke with New Orleans. I mean, I think he'll be an IA fifth in New Orleans if they're not trying to go nowhere. But if you're trying to go somewhere, you have to go young through the draft, or Aaron Rodgers. I want to say this: Aaron Rodgers is only one quarterback. He can't go to all these teams, so it's gonna be some moves made that's gonna be interesting. And a move that I didn't like already. I don't know how it's gonna turn out, but um, University of Georgia's offensive coordinator Monken ends up going to the Ravens. Um, if I was the Ravens, I would have held out and waited for Eric Bieniemy, seeing if I could have got Eric Bieniemy. And this is why, people, look at what Eric Bieniemy has done with Patrick Mahomes. Look at that offense. Look how electric that offense is, explosive that offense has been. Imagine what he can do with a guy like if the Ravens put the right pieces around Lamar Jackson. Imagine what Eric Bieniemy could have did with that. I'm just saying. Andy Reid gets a lot of credit for the offense a lot of times, but you got to think about it this way. Uh, wasn't no Patrick Mahomes. When Patrick Mahomes came, Eric Bieniemy came and stepped up. I got promoted to offensive coordinator, and those two took off with those three or whatever. So I'm looking at it like Eric Bieniemy has a lot to do with what Patrick Mahomes has going on. Even though Patrick Mahomes is going to be great regardless, but still, my point being. Go over there. If Eric Bieniemy would have went over there, I think Lamar Jackson would have signed yesterday. If Eric Bieniemy would have been the offensive coordinator, that's all I'm saying. I think they could work out a deal, somebody that's going to help them get them over the top. Because I don't think Lamar Jackson's position is just solely based on money. I think it's also based on, man, what y'all gonna put around me to try to win. I want to win like those guys. I mean, um, those are the huge things that we never look at when we start talking about athletes getting paid and all that stuff. What about winning? Tyreek Hill, let that be a lesson. I know Hill, but at the same time, Tyreek Hill talked that noise after he got traded, but what is he supposed to do, I guess? But he got to feel a little salty, that noise that he talked, because um, even though Tua got injured, Tua was nowhere near what Patrick Mahomes did. The effort and the heart of Patrick Mahomes is way different than a lot of people. The level of wanting to win, the will to win is a lot different. And that's what you have to look at sometimes when you look at these players, and not just specifically quarterbacks, but the whole Chief roster deserve props for that Super Bowl. I still feel like maybe it's a plan for Eric Bieniemy. I don't know. Maybe he's thinking if he stick around, maybe he got that Josh McDaniel thing going on, when Josh McDaniel was supposed to wait it out until Bill Belichick retired, but Bill Belichick never retired. Maybe it's the same thing with Bieniemy and Reed. Maybe he'll step into that spot if and when Reed decides to retire, which I don't think gonna be anytime soon, because you got to ride that wave of Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Andy Reid waited 20 plus years to win a Super Bowl, and now he won two of them. I mean, so you got to look at it like he ain't done winning yet. He couldn't get it done in Philly, couldn't get it done early on in Kansas City until Mahomes burst on the scene. So I look at Andy Reid actually being um, around for a few more years, at least maybe another year or two, to try to see if he can win a couple of more, I think. And like I said, they got Patrick Mahomes locked in for a lot of years. So, but for some reason, out of head nowhere. All these ain't winning nothing. All these dudes that ain't winning nothing seem to get head coaching jobs like that. But those that's winning, i.e. Byron Leftwich, that I know the Tampa Bay had a bad season, but he don't have no head coaching job. The enemy don't have a head coaching job. Um, it's a couple of others that don't have head coaching jobs, but it's some offensive coordinator positions and stuff out there open. I'm pulling for Byron Leftwich to get a job somewhere. I'm thinking maybe Arizona, maybe go to the Cardinals, maybe show what he can do with a Kyler Murray once Kyler Murray's healthy. But Gannon gonna have a tough job in Arizona anyway. Um, Filling in for Kyler Murray. What do you do when your quarterback is not projected to be back? Your starting quarterback not projected to be back anytime soon. So what do you do? Um, there's a lot of questions for the Arizona Cardinals to answer, but I don't see the Cardinals doing anything anyway. I heard this today also somewhere, but that it would be lovely. Or was it yesterday? I heard it this week. It would be lovely for DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, if as like a diehard Cowboy fan, if we could land a receiver like that, that'll change things. I mean, we talked OBJ or whatever. Nobody knows how good OBJ is going to be after being out of football. Injuries. We always see how that plays out. Not everybody bounce back quick. There's the rust. I mean, just look at John Watson with the rust. So really, I'm looking at DeAndre Hopkins. If the Cowboys can land a receiver like that, I think that'll change things for us. I think it'll help us out majorly. But I won't hold my breath for stuff for that. And everybody keep talking about Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets. Let's just clear this up right now. I don't really care where Aaron Rodgers goes because I don't think he's that quarterback to get it over. Everybody always quoting the Stephen A. Smith, he's a bad man. Well, guess what? Bad man win MVPs in the regular season, but don't show up in the postseason. Haven't showed up in the postseason in years. And that's just my opinion. Hasn't been relevant in the postseason in years. So I'm really not worried about that. I'm really not worried about where Aaron Rodgers is going to land. I don't think it'll make the Jets a playoff team. It'll make any team a playoff team, but that's about it. Don't you want to win? Don't you want to win the Super Bowl? I mean, I'm looking at everybody always putting together these lists. So I'm gonna drop a list real quick about five quarterbacks that I think you can't win with. And the first one I already said, Derek Carr. Second one is Aaron Rodgers. You can win regular season games with either one or both, but you're not gonna win a Super Bowl with those guys. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna throw Lamar Jackson in there. And this is why I like Lamar Jackson. I'm a huge Lamar Jackson, but I think that they run him to death. As long as he stays in Baltimore, they're gonna run him to death. They're not gonna really switch schemes up or whatever. And when you shut that running game down, they don't have receivers enough unless they land like a DeAndre Hopkins or somebody or OBJ or something like that. Um, then they're not going. The Ravens are just going to run the man in the ground pretty much, and it's not going to get them anywhere. And the fourth quarterback on that list, it is Kyler Murray. I don't think you can win with a Kyler Murray, and the reason why is because Kyler Murray seems to have his whole situation to me is different. His attitude. If he don't change his attitude, he won't be in the league. You can't keep running coaches off. You can't keep butting heads with coaches because eventually you keep running coaches off. Ain't nobody gonna want to coach a team if you own a team. So guess what? You're gonna be out of there. But I think they overpaid him. I think they paid him too soon. So I think that's a problem. And the other quarterback that I think that you can't win with, and everybody knows it. And if he still has a job next year, I don't know how. But Carson Wentz. It's time to get off the Carson Wentz smoke, man. It's time to get off the gas with that dude. It's time for him to be out of there. Some of these guys get multiple chances and you don't know why. But I think Carson Wentz has had enough times. And you know what they say: if you ain't dropping turds and clap. So it's time to move away from the Carson Wentz. No Carson Wentz next year. No Carson Wentz on, maybe a backup. If you just have to have a backup, then maybe a backup. But as a starting quarterback, I think that's super still. Um, I'm looking at, we don't know what Carolina's going to do with Sam Darnold, but I think the verdict is out on that too. Sam Darnold, uh, no, no disrespect to Sam Darnold, but I just don't think you're going to win far or go far with him. I think you got a better chance of if the right quarterback gets Jacoby Brissett. If the right team gets Jacoby Brissett, I think you can do more with Jacoby Brissett than you can with a Carson Wentz, with a Derek Carr even. Derek Carr is a little bit better than Jacoby Brissett as far as skill sets, as far as field command and things. But Derek Carr is just not a strong leader. Man, if your leader crying, then pretty much they not listen. Like it's hard to hold a guy's ear in the locker room or hold a guy's attention in the locker room or even get respect in the locker room if your leader crying, man. Some things you got to handle with the toughness and things like that. I'm not saying. I mean, you got to find that even kill, and that's my problem with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was proven he was a great leader early on. It seemed like, but now it seems like he just don't care. Ever since he been on this retirement plan or this retirement kick, he just don't seem like to be that leader that wants to go out there and put it on the line all the time. And you might say I'm crazy, but he goes out there with injuries. He goes out there, he plays injured. This past season, it was a thumb. The season before that, it was a toe. But that's just all ego to say, hey, you can't win without me. I don't want to give Jordan Love any shot. And that's about showing up the team. That's what it's been about. It's been about showing up the team. Nothing else. So it's been more of a pride thing, an ego thing, in my opinion, than it has been about winning, than it's been about anything. I mean, this guy used to love to win. I don't know where that passion for winning is went, or if he can rekindle that passion. But those are the things that I look at, and that's why I say you can't win with Aaron Rodgers. Let me get off the end of it. Just thinking about several things that all have to that we all should ponder about certain teams and certain organizations. Like all the talk about Bears potentially, what they should do, all these mock drafts, the Bears trade down, or the Bears getting rid of Justin Fields. I said it before, and I'll say it again: the Bears are crazy if they get rid of Justin Fields. That'll be like, I don't know. It'll be the craziest move. Like I wouldn't gamble another quarterback in the draft when I already saw that the one I got has potential through the roof. Is no limit to the guy's game, and if you put pieces around him, you'll probably be a more successful team in no time, and you'll probably be challenging for the crown in no time. Um, Teams like the Bears, it's been so far in between. Um, what early 2000s, they were challenging, made it to a Super Bowl, things like that. And then they've been, for the last and a half or so, they've been irrelevant. For the last decade or so, they've been irrelevant as far as playing, and they've never really had strong quarterbacks. Now you can win Super Bowls without good quarterbacks. That's been proven from the likes of, the Phil Sims, um, the Trent Dilfers, the Joe Flacco's, the list goes on. The Jim McMahons, the list goes on. Like as far as the Mark Rippins, different quarter. You can win without good quarterbacks. Um, you can even win with a backup quarterback. Super Bowls and things like that. As far as because it's all about the team. Again, what Kansas City did as a team proved, excuse me, that you need a team. You need everybody playing. You need everybody on their game. You need everybody to come to the party. And I think that comes with coaches, structure. And sometimes it starts, like from the GM on down, from the owner throughout the organization. Winning is a huge thing. And looking at that, get to the glory. You don't know if he's gonna make the playoffs at the year, but I think he's building towards something great. And if they get a couple of pieces, um, I think they're a receiver away. Actually, I think they was just a couple of bonehead plays away from really giving it a run in the playoffs because um, um, Bill Belichick is one of those people, especially defensively, that comes up with a scheme for every team that he plays, especially in the playoffs, and it shows. Remember the head-to-heads with the Tennessee Titans, where he would take away um, the Eddie George, and he would force Steve McNair to make the decisions. Just sit back. 8 men in the box, 9 men in the box. Remember the 1-5-5 defenses that he would run against Peyton Manning. I mean, all those different schemes and the complexity of the schemes and putting those things into play. Um, that's why Belichick's always one of my favorites. I didn't really care much for Andy Reid, but Andy Reid has earned a different respect. Any guy that wait 20 years to win a Super Bowl, any guys that perfect their craft, he was always considered a good offensive mind, but to have the total package and to realize that, um, and to be that old and still be able to coach in this day and time where most teams younger, and because the generational gap has got to be different, but to be on that level and to be considered a player's coach where it's such a huge gap between the ages and things like that. That's commendable because you see what they're doing. It's pretty much out with the old and with the new. Every team's going younger. It seems with the coaches getting those coaches in there that can relate to the players, and it's a beautiful thing. They even going, even up top, the GM moves and the vice president of operation moves, things like that. All the moves within the organization are geared towards this younger generation. And the explosion of talent. It's so much talent out there in all sports right now. It's so much talent. The talent pool is ridiculous, and the stakes are raised for the talent. Um, some make the mark, some don't, but it's always hard to gauge. And My special shout out today though goes to Rondé Barber for finally making the Hall of Fame. 6 years on the ballot, finally getting in. Probably should, in my opinion, should have been in. Nobody did what he. Nobody got the stuff that the criteria. I mean, I don't know what the criteria for Hall of Fame is, but if you got 40 something interceptions in a career and then 25 sacks as a cornerback. Name another cornerback that got 25 sacks or whatever. I mean, I thought the Hall of Fame was about being special at your plus the amount of touchdowns that he has as a cornerback, like 12 or so, whatever it is, it's ridiculous. He got ridiculous numbers, but he got to fight to get in the Hall of Fame. But then we see they just letting some people in. They letting old guys in from whenever, talking about they seniors or whatever. They don't even have their numbers are so outdated that they don't even measure up to the numbers today. So how can you equate that? How can you say that balances out? But good, I was a huge Rondé Barber fan. Remember the Tampa Bay Buck defense? He played with the Derrick Brooks. He played with the John Lynches. He played with the Warren Saps, the Simeon Rice. That whole squad that went hard. I really got a respect for Rondé. As far as like the things that he did, not the biggest cornerback, but he was still holding down the spot. Like I said, he should have been in. Now, that's what I'm saying. He gets in, and now Darrelle Revis gets in, and Revis numbers. Revis only, they called it Revis Island, but for a career, he got 29 interceptions. He got interceptions in his career. However many years he played, he only got 29. I mean, I thought Darrelle Revis had done better than that. And, 139 pass deflections or whatever. Ease or man, I don't know. I don't know what the criteria is sometimes, but I don't think Darrelle Revis should be in there. I mean, Revis Island evidently wasn't that tough, but he does have a Super Bowl win. He did get a Super Bowl win with the New Patriots, if I remember correctly. But at the same time, is that all that it takes? Because Revis Island, and everybody's going to defend it. Fans of players going to defend it, and they're going to say, well, they never threw the ball his way. That's why they called it Revis Island. But at the same time, the man don't have the numbers. He don't have primetime numbers. He don't have Rondé Barber numbers. He don't have Rodney Harrison numbers. It's a lot of players. I don't even think he got Darrell Green numbers or whatever. But, okay, salute to Darrelle Revis if that's what we're doing. Joe Thomas, man, hats off, 10 Pro Bowls. Now, this guy should be in the Hall of Fame, no, hands down. 10 Pro Bowls, all pro tackle, so what, he played most of his career. I mean, I think he played all his career, or the bulk of his career for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, I ain't gonna hold that against him, but let's just say he was all pro all the time. So, hats off to him, salute to him for doing his thing. And the I think he should have been in also. Like, where should he be in the Hall of Fame? Sack numbers in that amount of time. Now, the only knock that I would have against DeMarcus Ware, because he was so injury prone, some sacks probably missing because he was injured a lot. And when you get injured a lot, sometimes that just takes away from the game. But I think that overall, he got pretty good numbers. But my question is, when we start talking sack masters and stuff, Hassan Reddick is being slept on. I had to do my homework and see, he got over 150 some, over 160 some sacks for his career. And if he plays 4 or 5 more years, you never know. He could catch Bruce Smith. Do you think that's possible, that he could play a few more years or whatever and catch Bruce Smith? Do you think anybody will ever catch Bruce Smith? I mean, I don't know. It's just, I guess it's just the way we can all look at it. We could all sit back and evaluate. But Hassan Reddick, I didn't know he was that good until this whole Eagle explosion or whatever. But, that's a guy to keep your eye on. And that's something that's interesting. I know Aaron Donald gets all the best player in football, this, that, whatever. But we know Aaron Donald's not gonna come close to the sack record. But I'm looking at Hassan Reddick. He might just do it. Michael Parsons is off to a good start early on in his career. If he doesn't get injured, you never know. 8-9 years down the road, a decade or so down the road, we might be talking about him being a sack, taking over the lead. And I know a lot of people say, well, Reggie White was the best sack master. He was the sack master and all that. But I think it's a toss up between him and Bruce Smith, two of the greatest I ever seen. Another great one that passed away many years ago, um, along with Reggie White. But Derek Thomas was really great for the Kansas City Chiefs. He was really, really special out there on that football field, and gone too. He was gone too soon, so we never really got to see, what he could have done. I mean, he was setting in-game records like 7 sacks in a game. I don't know, 7, 8 sacks in a game. I don't think I ever seen anything like that since. I've seen 3 or 4 sacks in a game, but I ain't seen one guy get 7 sacks or whatever, or come close to what Thomas was doing out there. That guy wrecked shop when he was out there. It's been a lot of great sack masters. Me, I'm a defensive guy. It's the people's coach, Cornelius Cole. I'm a defensive guy, though. I really ride with defense. And now, a shout out to Nerd Focus Energy Drink. Get your brain right and your game tight with Nerd Focus Energy Drink. And don't forget to check out the other shows that's on Sports for America. Um, J&J Professional Services LLC. If you're a shipper and you're looking for freight, holla at J&J. You see it's scrolling across green, fam.brand at Instagram, Fancy Lips. You can check out Fancy Lips Cosmetics at fancylips.com if you're looking for organic makeup supplies. So now, keeping it rolling, this last half of the show, the NBA trades. I want to talk a little bit about some of the trades that I feel like, as a fan of the game, that matter. And the first one, might as well get it out the way. KD going to Phoenix. Now Phoenix I already root against Chris Paul. Now it just gave me another reason to root against Phoenix, because everybody already put them in the NBA Finals because they picked up Kevin Durant. First of all, Brooklyn out they darn mind. I don't know what Brooklyn was thinking. I wouldn't have traded the guy. Guy would have just had to wait. He would have just had to suffer and show up and be a professional and play on this squad because you under contract. Now they didn't trade him in the summer. Turn around and trade him now. Of course, in the summer, they were thinking they would have him and Kyrie both, but Kyrie was the linchpin behind it. I get it. So Kyrie goes to the Mavs a little bit last week. I'm going to come back to that. But KD going to the Phoenix Suns does not guarantee them a championship, people. And follow me, they still going to be the soft Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker going to be the same Devin Booker that I saw ball out on his way to the finals, but then get to the finals and get shut down by Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday was in that boy pocket and was in his mind and had his mind. I mean, man, once they can whoop your mind, it's over. It's over. So maybe, unless you go tell me Devin Booker done got past that and he go figure out a way to do something better. Nah, I don't see it happening. We already is pretty much great and almost unstoppable, but we know what his kryptonite is, and that's when the ball don't come to him when they really need buckets. You got all that firepower, but you ain't really looking at who gonna stop somebody. I mean, KD play a little defense, Aiden maybe rim protector, but who plays at the rim these days? I just look at the mixture of the team, and like you said, Chris Paul. Chris Paul ain't guarding nobody if he healthy and if he can come out there and contribute anything. And I don't think they thought about bench wise. The more I think about it, they don't have that. They got rid of most of the depth. They traded it all to Brooklyn. So yeah, I like I'm still riding with the Clippers as long as those guys are healthy. They love to hear. So I was watching the game last night, the Clippers, and I saw now. I was kind of wondering what they was doing, trading their point guards and how and just Bones Highland or whatever. But I got to see them play, and I see um, Paul George pretty much gonna be the point guard when push come to shove. He gonna be the one pushing the rock. I like that because the rock in his hands and the way him and Kawhi play off each other. Man, Kawhi was lighting them up last night. So if Kawhi stay healthy, y'all better watch out because. And then when it came down to it, I know they was only playing the Warriors last night, but when it came down to it, Joel was getting off a little bit, Clay was getting off, but then all of a sudden, that perimeter defense became trouble. I mean, the length of the Clippers, they play like the as far as trade wise. Got the big piece that I saw last night for the Clippers was Plumlee. If Plumlee plays like that, with Zubac starting and then Plumlee coming in, filling in, giving them good minutes like he gave last night, it's gonna be some trouble. It's gonna be some trouble for them. And plus, Plumlee brings it on both ends of the court, defense, and offense. Saw was the Bucks against the Celtics. You really didn't get a gauge for that game last night. The Bucks. They still look good. I mean, you know how I feel about Giannis. Y'all know how I feel about Giannis. I think the Bucks gonna be around in the end, and the Celtics but the Celtics with three people out. What was it, guy? How's it? Man, I don't know. How's it can shoot? How's it can play? And I know he getting more minutes than he probably normally would get with Smart, Tatum, and Brown being out last night. Plus, Harford was out. I know he probably was getting more minutes, but he was making all those minutes count. I mean, that rotation. I don't know how they gonna fit them all in, but I think how it worked to overtime. It took the Bucks overtime and a season high, whatever it was. Anyway, Drew Holiday dropped 40, and that's the thing that I have about this league this year is that everybody dropping 40. It don't matter who you are, man. If the towel boy lace him up and go out there, he probably gonna drop 40 in his league right now. I'm just looking at everybody doing their thing, but um, Dallas trading the Luka and Kyrie. I don't see that getting them anywhere. I think I said that last week. As far as that trade happened early. The KD trade happened at the deadline, which was Thursday. So I showed it on other people's format. I mean, on other people's platforms and stuff. I've been speaking out. I don't think the Kyrie and Luka thing. So far they 0-2 as a team. They got a game tonight against the Nuggets. I think they're going 0-3 as a tandem. And I think they're gonna have to try to make some adjustments. I saw somewhere they was saying Jason Kidd probably won't be that coach in the near future if he can't figure out how to make that work. Well, it won't be Jason Kidd's fault. That's a player issue. They got to work that out on the court. You got to know when to get your shots. It's a 48-minute game. You got to know when to get your shots and when to pass the ball. And right now, they're trying to work that out. I don't know if you got enough time to adjust, and I don't know if it's going to work out to get you far in the playoffs, whatever. They might plummet. They might drop all the way down if they don't start winning games soon. But you can say that about a lot of teams. I know the Warriors. I know they handicapped without Steph Curry right now. But really and truly, the Warriors just pitiful. I think I saw a stat. They were 7-22 on the road. They just came on the road, and I don't understand for a team that used to be a championship team. I don't really understand how they don't win on the road like that. I don't understand how they aren't effective, for a team with a championship pedigree. But this year, other teams that we was hype on that start slipping, you start to see teams slip right now. But I think Brooklyn's still gonna make the playoffs. They ain't gonna fall that bad, but I think they're gonna slip a little bit. But I think so you expect it because they lost their two stars on the team, and I've been hearing this talk about what Ben Simmons gonna do now that the two stars go. Ben Simmons gonna do what he's done the last since he's been out there this season or whatever. Nothing, nothing. I mean, he just ain't gonna do nothing. It's just that simple. Guy ain't gonna change up just because some pieces are moved. Ben's problem is, in my opinion, mental. And like I said, once they whoop your mind, man, once your mind whoop, it's hard to overcome that. It's hard to overcome a lot of different things. Like he got to get out of his own head and he got to just go back to playing basketball. I don't know how he's got to do it. Some way he got to spin it around a coach. Somebody got to get in his ear and say, "Hey, man, when you came into this league, I started show him his old film when he came into the league, or go back to his LSU days or whatever." But something you got to say, "Hey, man, where's that guy that came in that was just balling and wasn't worried about the talk? Wasn't I mean, you got a guy scared to shoot or scared to touch the ball because he don't want to go to the free throw line. I mean, it's gonna hurt. I don't know how many minutes you can really give a guy like that if he's just not going to take advantage of the opportunity. I mean, you can still dunk the ball. That's what you came in doing. You came in posting dudes up. You came in assisting, throwing assists, and you weren't worried about free throws. Trust me, a coach will know when it comes down how valuable free throws are, or when you have to worry about free throws. You only have to worry about free throws when the game on the line. And I don't expect you to be in the game when the game on the line anyway, because they know that they know that you handicap with free throw shooters. So Ben, stop worrying so much, man. Go out there and play your game. I mean, it's sad to see a guy that went from an all-star, he let the Philly crowd eat him up. He let the whole Philly thing just get into his head too much, and now he in his own head. And other players that trash talk, they in his head too. I mean, it's a lot of factors going into that, but he got to block all that out and get back to playing ball. I mean, because Ben Simmons was pretty decent, like I said, he was an all-star caliber player, and now he just let that slip away. Um, Maybe a little bit still got to do with injuries, but I doubt his injuries. I think it's all mental. When you watch him play, you can see it's all mental. The hesitance to even get into play or whatever, to be a part of the play. But he's played a little bit solid defense. Somehow, got to get out of that. And speaking of mental, I talked a little bit of the John Wall being in. John Wall, man, is over. I talked about that last week. I think his career is pretty much done. It's a wrap. I haven't really seen what the Jazz have decided yet. What they're gonna do with Westbrook? Where Westbrook gonna end up? I do think, and I said it last week, but for me, and you can mark my words, a good fit for Westbrook. I mean, I think he would. I think he would fit good with the Clippers. And the reason why I think he'll fit good with the Clippers is I think Ty Lue is a great coach. I think the chemistry that he had before with Paul George would be great. As long as he goes in there with the mentality that he gonna go and do his job, that he shouldn't have no problems with Kawhi Leonard. I mean, you go into a team where your leader knows how to lead, so all you got to do is go and play your role. Your two top leaders, your head coach and the lead team, they know how to win championships. So all you got to do is go play your part, and then Paul George, I think you'll fit in. I think it'll work. And then you won't be asked to do something silly like shoot a bunch of threes, i.e. the Lakers. You know what I mean? He could actually go and play his game. So I think that'll be a good fit. Another good fit for Westbrook will probably be Miami. Go down there with Eric Spoelstra, man. Go somewhere you want it on those teams. I'm just saying, go somewhere where the coaches got a knack for winning and a knack for bringing out the best in players. I think that's what he needs. I think that's what Westbrook needs at this stage in his career. Probably should have had it early on, but you get it when you can. And that's another difference that I think about Phoenix. I mean, I'm not sold on the whole Monty Williams thing. I mean, he's been a pretty good coach here and there, but I don't, but at the league with Jay Crowder won. The biggest winner out of the trades right now, in my opinion, is Jay Crowder. Because like I said it last week. Hey, if he go to Milwaukee, he gonna be a good fit in Milwaukee, and you'll see how that's gonna pan out once he gets acclimated into their system. Once he gets, once that Giannis rub off on them a little bit once that Holiday and Middleton rub out. I mean, you go into a team that's right now like on the 11, 12 game win streak. I mean, I'm just saying, all you got to do is go and play your position, go play your role, and sit back, and you'll probably end up, you'll probably end up in the NBA final. I just look at that as a great move, um, for Jay Crowder. I think it's a great move for Milwaukee. It only helps them get a little bit more depth, and now they got somebody that can hit big shots here and there, that's not afraid to take big shots. Also, so I like the move. I know Crowder hasn't played at all this season, but like I said this last week, um, the defense that he's going to bring on a team that's already defensive. You don't have the Bucks only play defense to right now. He's really allowing D, 48 minutes in a game. But on those stretches where it's time to crank up the defense, like they did yesterday in the overtime against the Celtics, and the fourth quarter to get it to overtime, where they started locking down D. Those things would be valuable, and I think pretty much as far as relevant trades. That's most of the ones that are going to be the most effective parts of the trade. Now the things that I want to see is some certain things because I got a couple of comments last week. Whoa! Because I had got a couple of comments last week about the man, I lost my train of thought. Forgive me, the dog made me train of thought for you. A couple of the moves that was made, a couple of the teams that people was hype on, like the Jazz fell apart. Then you see Sacramento, they gonna slip a little bit because things are about to start getting tight. And I'm not saying that Phoenix not gonna make a run for the top. And the team that I didn't mention as far as the trades that they made being impactful, that's the Lakers. Because the trades ain't gonna be impactful. I'm sorry to say that. I mean, I like the Russell move. I think that's a good move for them. But at the same time, I just don't see them doing anything with it because they can't stay healthy. At first it was AD. Now it's LeBron. Don't know if LeBron's going to play tonight. They say he's questionable or whatever. But I'm just saying, ever since he broke the record, he ain't played, and they ain't won a game. So they keep digging the hole deeper. They're a few games back, but all the teams are challenging right now in order to leap for some of them teams. And I said it before, my biggest disappointment is Dame Lillard. Dame Lillard and the Chauncey Billups thing, that's not going to work. I think Chauncey Billups, man, going to be out of there, man. I don't know. I wanted to get a guy a chance to coach, but you got the Portland Trail Blazers. You got some talent. It's not working out. It's not looking good. It's not looking promising. And I was talking about as far as teams or players, selling out either for the bag or this misplaced loyalty type stuff and not really trying to put themselves in the best position to win, which has been a knock against KD, right? KD went from OKC to Golden State to win. And then, he made a crazy move going to Brooklyn thinking that him and Kyrie was going to win, but that was never going to work. Even when they brought Harden in, that was never going to work. You just saw that way, the writing on the wall, because that's the same thing I see with the Dallas Mavericks is you gambling on Kyrie. And I'm gonna be the one to put it out there. I like Kyrie's game. I think he's a baller. I don't even have no problem with some of his politics and none of that kind of stuff, man. Whatever he do off the court, that's his business. But Kyrie don't always bring it, man. I'm just gonna put that out there. And then what he did to the Celtics, left them in a lurch after saying he was going back. You can't trust that cat. So my thing is I wouldn't even want him on my squad. I mean, like he busted up another squad. He just busted up the Brooklyn squad. You know what I'm saying? So I just look at it like And I was listening today on the First Formation show. I heard him talking about my man Trey. Shout out to First Formation, Trey and Bishop. Bishop, where you at, by the way? I ain't seen you. Trey was saying, the whole thing came up of maybe Kyrie in the offseason might end up in Phoenix. It's like, no way he's going to end up in Phoenix. And if he does end up in Phoenix, it's not going to matter. They can stack the deck. They still not going to win because you're gambling on Kyrie. That's a big gamble. I wouldn't gamble on them. Like I said, I know the Mavericks have to do what they have to do to try to see what Luca can do, playing with another star or this that. But there's other stars out there, in my opinion. They could have went. They could have waited and went another route and just set it out this season because maybe they thinking they can win with Kyrie, but I don't see a team that can win with Kyrie. There's no team has won with him since. Now I will say this: they were up when it was him, Harden, and Durant. They were kind of taking it to the Bucks that year for a while. Remember, they won by like 50 points. I always bring that up because a Giannis-led team getting smoked by 50. Those guys are looking good. Then Harden got hurt, and then Kyrie got hurt, and then the rest was history. It came down to a game 7 or whatever, and then they want to say the toe on the line. They want to say it, but again, I'm sick of the toe on the line argument, people. I don't want to hear that no more because it wasn't the toe on the line that lost the game. It was the 5 minutes after that. It was the overtime where Kevin Durant gave you a goose egg, where the game was lost. Where he gave you a goose egg. That's what made the difference in the game. It wasn't the toe on the line. Oh, his shoes were too big. I mean, I've heard it all, and it's like that's a common debate these days. I mean, I don't know if it's just because media repeats itself or whatever, or people repeat themselves. But no, okay. Um, Drew Holiday is impressive on both ends of the court, and he's getting better. I mean, that's what's going to make the Bucks so scary is that Drew Holiday is getting better. Chris Middleton working his way back in, and since he's been back, they've been lights out. But Drew Holiday is definitely getting better on both ends of the court. I know offense is going to be on and off because you have your games where you have your games where you cold. But the biggest thing is his impact on the defensive end. Like just watching the last couple of games that the Bucks have played and seeing some of the jumping in the passing lanes, that getting up on people, the guy with his hands are quick, dexterity's there, everything's there, his agility. I mean, man, like it's impressive how he gets up on. And then if he's full court pressing, full court press is different than a lot of players out there. Only thing I saw match it was the press, that full court press from the Clippers that I saw last night. If like certain teams, I think those two teams are on a class in the championship, but I also think the Nuggets. It's going to be interesting to watch this game tonight to see the Nuggets versus the Mavericks because you'll get a good gauge on what Luka and Kyrie are really going to bring against the best team in the West. We're not going to sleep on the Nuggets. It's just that to me, the Joker not going to be enough. Jamal Murray, they're not going to be enough when it all boils down to it. Aaron Gordon is my wild card. I said that before, but I just don't think they're going to be enough when the games start getting real tight because it's the Steve Nash effect. I call it the Steve Nash effect, whereas you have this great team, but then your main player, i.e. the Joker, can't defend. So if a team on offensive end, he's going to push him, but he can't stop anybody. The Joker can't stop anybody. I mean, he doesn't move that well laterally. He's not that quick. Like I said, he's going to punish teams on the offensive end, but sometimes you got to get a stop, and I don't see him getting a stop. Good evening. How you doing? I don't see him getting a stop. I don't see him playing great defense. And I think that's going to ruin. I know in the league right now, the defense don't count. But trust me, in the playoffs, you're going to need a little defense. And I don't see when your main player can't play defense, it's going to be a problem, especially when it comes down to those teams. I think if somehow the Lakers can sneak in, they'll be a tough opponent because we know what if AD's healthy, we know what he's gonna bring on the defensive end. We know what we even know what an agent LeBron's gonna do on the defensive end. And if they can get other players on that team to play a little bit of defense, then Darvin Ham's supposed to be, he had Giannis, so he knows about defense. He coached, he's assistant coach with Giannis, so you'll see the efforts, and you'll see the changing of the guards right now that's going on. Notice I didn't mention the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies, I'm sick of those dudes. They got one star. And he talks so much noise that he may have just proved to himself with the noise talk. Like Ja Morant is all you got. I watched them. I want to say over the weekend I watched them play. As a matter of fact, I watched them play against the Celtics, and they got one star. One. They need more star power. They need somebody else that can get buckets when they need buckets because Ja Morant going one on one in the crucial moments of the game, they're just not. It's not going to beat teams that shooting threes lights out. They got to get another scorer. They got to get somebody better. Either that or they got to start playing better perimeter defense, which I don't. Which they play pretty. They all right on the defensive end. It's just that they don't. Ja Morant not going to be able to do it by himself. You're gonna run out of gas that way. So I don't know who they can get or what they can do right now to make adjustments, or if anybody can pick up the game to that level that they're gonna need. But the Grizzlies, it don't look good as far as, and I'm talking championship run. Last year, they made it to the semifinals or whatever. I'm talking championship run. I don't see that happening. And with the last few minutes of the show, I want to talk about my hometown Rockets real quick. Hakeem got to be Hakeem the Dream, Kenny Smith, all them dudes got to be rolling over. The Rockets, it's not them. Rockets, Spurs, Hornets, and I'm forgetting another team, but the tanking is in full effect. It's just tanking games, tanking to get better draft position, to be in that lottery or whatever, to get more balls in the lottery. It's just sad to see the tanking after you've already tanked enough to get the people that you got already. When are you going to develop and try to play into something formidable, to something competitive? When are you going to make this into something to watch or something to see? How long does a rebuild take? How long does a rebuild take? Is all I'm saying. Like it's pathetic to watch the teams tank. In my opinion, they got too much talent to only have like 13, 14 wins or whatever they have. It's really ridiculous. I know what's going on in Charlotte. Like, poor coaching. LaMelo Ball was hurt. You can make all the excuses you want. They tanking. And the Spurs of all teams, a coach with such prestige as Greg Popovich tanking. Now his talent pool is definitely not in the days of, it's not in the vein of the Tim Duncans, the Kawhis, or the Manu Ginobili's and Tony Parkers that he's had in the past. But he got a little bit of talent, and I know that his coaching skills. You mean to tell me Greg Popovich coaching fell off that much that this team is that sorry? They tanking, and it kind of. We know it's good. You're gonna get it in, especially in basketball. You're gonna get some tanking, but it's kind of ridiculous to even fathom that teams would actually tank. Like would really, and it really shows. Watch the games at crucial moments of the game. You making substitutions that don't make sense. You trying to throw the game. I get it. You want a higher draft pick. Everybody in the lottery for that 7'4" French guy or whatever. Everybody wants to be in the running for that. But at the same time, this 7'4" French guy ain't played in the NBA yet. What about developing the talent you have, improving? I mean, I don't know. I'm from the old school. I thought that's what coaching was about. And then we gripe and we complain. Even as fans, we gripe and we complain about this guy not getting a chance to coach and this guy not getting a chance to coach. And then these guys get chances to coach. And look at what they do with it. You tasked to, what's his name down there in Houston? Your job is to tank. Come on, bruh. You sign up for that. As hard as it is in any of these leagues for black coaches to get jobs and this, that, whatever. That's exactly what they was talking about, what Brian Flores was talking about in the NFL. And then you see it in the NBA. It's ridiculous that you tanking. That your job is to go out there and lose. Your job ain't to go out there and do your best, bro. Why would you even sign up for that? That's all I'm saying. I know my time's running short, but for real, I wouldn't want the gig if that's what it entailed. It's like if I can't go out there and put the best product together and we can go try to win and get one of those what it used to be, the Larry O'Brien trophy, whatever it is, to get one of those trophies in the cabinet, then what is it about if it's not about winning? And with these last couple of seconds, another shout out going out to Tiger Woods, man. This guy just keeps coming back. Tiger won't go away. So Tiger's getting ready to play starting tomorrow. It's a non-major event, but 7 months after the last time you seen him all twisted up, all in pain, trying to finish, didn't really look great. Maybe he coming back, bounce back. Maybe he'll look better than he did before. But it's a good move for golf because everybody's eyes going to be on this little tournament. When Tiger comes in, he bring all the eyes with him, and that's what the PGA Tour needs. And I'm pretty sure that's a part of the reason why Tiger's there, other than him wanting to be back in competition, but it's to do the thing that he loves, for the league that he loves or whatever. But that's my time. I'm getting ready to get out of here. So y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Wednesday night. Thanks to Sports for America for putting me on. And don't forget to check me out on the Stimulate Your Mind show every Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Yours truly, the people is called